Mabotja.
Live, streaming countrywide
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM.
8 minutes after 1 o'clock. Welcome to 7:02 Afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja. Happy Wednesday. And also, it is a happy Youth Takeover Thursday happening on a Wednesday this week because on Thursday I'm not around. But I'm so excited. If you don't know, last week we started with a whole month of Youth Takeover Thursdays, it being Youth Month, and just wanting to create opportunities for young people to actually get on-air experience and some mentorship. We started up last week where we had a sports presenter join us, 18 years old. Make sure you go to the socials so you can see what that was like. Today, it is all about traffic, and we're going to be introducing you to somebody brand new. And the mentor of the day is Relebogile, and it's going to be an exciting one. In our finance feature, we're going to talk Adulting 101, how to handle your first paycheck. Listen, I feel like as black people, all we know what we've been told is give it to your parents. So it's going to be a 5-second interview. But on the reels, we'll be joined by Deborah Slabber, who is Director and Portfolio Specialist at Morningstar Investment Management. The second hour of the show, it's our Masterclass in the spirit of Youth Month. Hence, all our topics are around that and empowering young people. Get them to tune in. We're talking about mastering your CV and job search strategy. We'll be joined by Tulisile Mgidi, who is General Manager and Certified Coach at No Valo Learning Center. Get in touch with us, 011 883 0702. SMS us 31702, tweet at Relebogile M at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 Afternoons and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702 Afternoons
With Relebogile Mabotja.
Okay, it is a hashtag Youth Takeover Thursday that is happening on a Wednesday. Don't ask me why I'm not calling it Wednesday, because I need you to tune in next week, Thursday. It's happening on a Wednesday. I am away tomorrow tending to another engagement that I need to get to, but I'm so excited to introduce all of you, and I hope that you show him some love on 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Judah Sebola, how are you?
Great, Australia. How are you?
I am good. Look at that bright smile. Please make sure you follow us on the socials, Facebook, Instagram. Download the Prime Media Plus app, and then you can actually see a face to the voice. But even better, we're streaming live on YouTube. Just head over to the 702 channel. So, Judah, how did you find out about what we were doing?
So a friend sent me a text, and he said, "Yeah, I've seen your statuses. You like this thing, so why not try it out?" So I was like, "Yeah, let me try this out." I sent in a demo, got an email the next day, and I'm like, "Of course, I got an email the next day."
Look at you!
Yeah, that's
so
amazing.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Takeover Judah Sebola, so I have three names.
What a beautiful name.
Yeah. I the reason why I'm calling myself Judah now, I'm using my third name, is because I don't like the whole Umfemeti with white people. So I'm
So for the purposes of today, can we call you Umpemeti? Because I as Relebogile, I mean, listen, I go through it every day.
Yeah.
You are the only person that can teach people how to say your name.
Sure.
So we are scrapping Judah.
Definitely.
May Judah's soul rest in peace.
Let's
Welcome, Umpemetse Sebola, once again.
Yes.
So now you got told you're always posting these types of things.
Sure.
What did you study when you got out of school?
So I did not receive any formal education. Life happened, and I was unable to do any formal education. But I did not sit and consider myself redundant. What I did is that I went out and I did research. I put myself out there. I just did whatever I could do to raise myself into the person that I want to become. And I feel like I've done so much to advance myself that formal education I feel now is absolutely unnecessary now, so yeah, I feel like I can do these things myself, and I've done quite a lot. So yeah,
I have to say, for anybody who's like, how can formal education be unnecessary? You are 25 years old,
Sure.
and at this age, experience often carries more weight than any certificate.
Absolutely.
So if it makes you feel any better, I have zero formal education in terms of the line of work I'm in. It was only much later in my career that I started doing your business management's directorship, chairmanship, and things like that.
And I would like to get into formal education, in the future, to learn certain trades. But for now, I feel like I've done enough to equip myself to a point where I can provide for myself and feed myself. Sure.
So you have been spending some time with your mentor of the day, Karabo Jali, which I can already tell you, Karabo, I have removed myself very much from this process. The most I did was just put a post out on LinkedIn so that professionals in the networks could spread the word without it becoming this social media thing. And I love that I'm far removed because I'm genuinely getting to know you on air, and I'm finding I'm getting so emotional, and I don't know why. I'm getting emotional. Just listen to you speak about the fact that you didn't have the opportunity, but you still did something with it. How's the morning been with Umpemete, the two of you?
It's been a pleasure. We clicked from the word go. I realized he's a go-getter. He's keen to learn. And I've learned so much from him. Like you said, he doesn't have formal education, but he's an actor. He's a musician. He's a photographer.
Ooh.
So it was easy for me to show him the ropes because he can improvise. He's a quick learner, fast learner.
And that is such a big deal in our industry. I'm going to ask all of you, show some love on 011 8830702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. But also, if you are listening and you know somebody or you yourself tried to get this role of traffic presenter, use this session because there is a mentor here. We are going to be talking about how to do traffic. What are some of the things to be aware of? Umpemete is going to get a chance to do it on his own. We're going to give feedback and he's going to get to do it again. So 011 8830702 in the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702 delivers.
On the matters that matter to you.
My name is Uncle Bafana Memela from Davidson. 702 is one of a kind. It caters for everybody. The topics are unique and they are relatable to everybody. And you guys are doing a stellar job. You are really walking the talk.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
So we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
Every switch you flip, every circuit you connect, every idea you spark starts with power. So why not express it your way? At AC/DC Express, we've got solar power to keep you running, tools to get the job done, lighting to set the mood, and automation to take you to the next level. Whatever you need, big or small, we've got the power to supply it. With stores nationwide, expert advice, and the widest range of electrical solutions, AC/DC Express powers your world. AC/DC Express, everything electrical.
Do you want to buy a Honda? Cars.coza. Toyota or Mahindra? Cars.coza. Do you want to sell a Cherry? Cars.coza. Suzuki or Mercedes? Cars.coza. Polo, Kia, Mitsubishi, Havel, Hyundai, Lamborghini. Buy and sell, it's very easy. All you got to do is type Cars.coza. 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 Let's find what moves you. Gas.goza, gas.goza.
Smart Steve from Momentum. Hello.
Hey, Smart Steve, Amir here. Listen, man, I got a problem, right?
Okay.
My little princess is turning 18, and now she's got a license and a boyfriend. And you know what these roads and young boys are like at night. Y'all check.
So you're worried about her safety. Just add it to the Momentum app so she can access help 24/7 with Momentum's safety alert.
Is that the emergency response version of curry in a hurry? Listen, man, Steve, does my Momentum car insurance give me that?
For sure. Once she's added, she can get help at the touch of a button, no matter whose car she's in.
Free, mahala, for all that and all.
Yes, for free. Your peace of mind and her safety at no cost.
Oh, Steve, one last thing. Does it come with a boyfriend ejector seat?
Not yet, but I'll mention it to the team. Visit momentum.coza to get a quote. Momentum Insure, keeping you safe on your journey to success. Momentum Insure is an authorized non-life insurer and FSP. Standard SMS rates and T's and C's apply. FSP 22789.
In 2024, Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 gave away 200,000 Rand to one extraordinary small business that dared to reinvent, expand, and shake things up.
What I wanted now is that I wanted to start to manufacture my own email sheet, but the cost behind that, it was very huge. And then also through the 702, I was able to be given the money and also the exposure. I saw the 702 lenders coming, they bought the paint, people who were painting people's houses. It helps us actually in terms of improving our cash flow, and then a lot of money that we also got from this project, and then we were able to invest it. And then I can safely say that this accelerated the division of our email sheet.
In 2025, that small business owner could be you. So, if you're an SME that dares to disrupt the industry, enter on igniteyourbusiness.co.za for Nedbank Business Ignite on 702. T's and C's apply. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. This June, 702 celebrates the youth of 1976.
Let's walk the talk.
20 minutes after 1 o'clock, and it is our Youth Takeover Thursday on a Wednesday, the 11th of June, just to clarify. And today we're joined by Sebola, who is our young person taking over traffic, and really has been sharing such a beautiful story of how he got to where he is, together with his mentor, Karabo Chali. Now, Karabo, the two of you have spent some time together, and I'm going to encourage everybody, 011-883-0702 in the WhatsApp line, 072-702-1702, to get in touch with us. So let's quickly chat about, what are some of those 101 traffic things that you have been taught? Because you don't just read a script that you have prepared your own bulletin. You also would look at what's happening live, which, to give context to everybody listening, so many of you as our listeners have shared how you tune into the station because of news. So that information, news and traffic that fall under EWN, sport also falls under EWN, is a very massive role for the station. So it might come in for a few minutes a day, but it's super, super important.
So with me, we started off, I told him traffic is it's news that changes every minute. So you must be aware of what's going on. Even when you are live reading your script, things might pop up while you're reading, and then you have to improvise and think on your feet. And if it's a big story, you have to let people know as you go. So don't just concentrate on your script, which is very difficult when you're starting out. But as you get training and you get used to it, it gets easier, because he was surprised that I read most of my traffic on the map.
Yes.
Yes. And I was like, that's because something can pop up that I was not aware of. So you must always keep in mind of that things can always change in traffic. So you might have your script, but then just also be mindful that other things can come up.
Also, for traffic, we use our WhatsApp line and our SMS line for any alerts. So a lot of our information will also come from listeners, and we as a team will communicate. Yes. So if, let's say, I see a few people messaging, there's an accident, or why is the highway blocked, I will let Karabo know. And if I'm letting Karabo know and he's like, I'm not sure, he will definitely come and give me feedback and give listeners feedback as well.
Obviously, the most important thing is not to give false information. So if you're not sure, be honest and say, I'm not sure, I'll look into it. In the next bulletin, I'll have more news for you. Something like that. But if you're aware, you'll be like, 100%, I see those delays on the N1, and then you give more information. And if you're not sure, if you don't have enough information, encourage the listeners to say, please let us know. You are eyes and ears on the roads, so please give me more information.
So, Umpemete, I don't know if you know, but back in the day, I guess there wasn't this thing of reading maps in real time. What there was is somebody in a helicopter. Can you tell us about that, Karabs? Hold on, let's get our mics on. There we go.
It was before my time. That was Aki's time. When I got the internet was already rolling and going. But I remember listening to the traffic when I was growing up on the helicopter, which it was live as well. The information, you see it live. So I think it was more easier that way, because you didn't rely on other people's information. Your information was the fact. So with now, you can see somebody tweeting, but you have to verify that.
Yes.
So verifying information is very important at like now, because you get information on the SMS line, you get it from the satellite maps, but one of them could be wrong. So if you've got like 2 or 3 sources, then you can definitely confidently go on air and say this is happening.
And I think what's so sad about that story is some poor helicopter pilot is out of a job, getting GPS and live maps. But a very important thing then I have to ask is, even though traffic is just reporting like avoid this route, why is it important to say why there's delays? Because you often in your traffic reports will say protest action on bloody blah roads are closed, or there's a car accident. Why, from what you learned in school, was it important? Is it because we just like to know? Is it because you want to alert people on the road on imminent dangers, or is that just a 101 of the job?
So letting people know what's the reason of the delay, it's to let them know how long they're going to be stuck there. So if it's a serious accident, you tell them it's a fatal accident, you're going to be there for a very long time. Rather find alternatives. What I liked about him, right, this morning, there was delays. There are delays heading into the Joburg CBD.
Yes.
And he asked the question, why? And I was like, find out.
Yes.
And then he did find out.
Yes.
I was like, are you serious? So traffic lights are not working. I didn't know that. He made me aware.
Yes.
So you see, you have to find out why. Now we know traffic lights are not working. So they'll probably not be working this afternoon. So if you are knocking off, avoid that route.
Yes.
Yes.
I like that, because it also allows the listeners to still remain connected. And that's the beautiful thing about radio. Just from your side, I mean, traffic reporting is still such a radio thing.
Yes.
What are the other things you are able to do work-wise with the skills that you have?
Well, obviously, it's communication.
Yes.
Obviously, now I'm more confident communicating with people since I started radio. So you can do other things, voiceovers. If you want to be a presenter in the future, that's an opportunity where you can start. So, yeah, you can be versatile. You can also be an MC when you grow and be more confident in talking to the public.
Yeah.
Okay, so from your side, in terms of things that surprised you that you learned, from spending time with Karabo this morning, what are some of the surprising things you learned?
Number one, it's the fact that to find traffic, you have to go to Waze.
Yes.
So I didn't know that. I thought, like, as you said, in the past there was a helicopter. I thought they were like, 702 helicopters or 702 people standing at corners and intersections. And like, hey, guys.
That is so funny. I love that.
Hey, guys, calling Karabo like, hey, guys, there's this thing. But it's actually very, very easy to do this. I mean, the updates are quicker, and it's just something that you can do live and on air. Sure.
So when he says you get information from Waze, there's different kinds of satellite maps. Those are part of the source information we get, but we don't just solely rely on Waze.
Because there's Google,
there's Google, and Waze also gets it wrong, So if you see something on Waze or any other satellite map, verify. Go on Twitter, check what people are saying about the N1 in Midrand. Is it really happening? Get more information. Go on the SMS lines, find more information. Why is there a delay? Okay, it's the accident. Is the accident fatal? You get more information by checking other sources, your Twitter, your SMS line, your WhatsApps, And and then even calling the officials like your JMPDs, your officials that are monitoring the situations as well.
guys,
Yeah, the outsurance guys, to verify if those traffic lights are really out of order.
All right, so that's one thing you're never supposed to do. Karabo Jali's phone is going off. That is rule, but just so you know, we still make mistakes. That's something you need to know, Mpemete, that we still make mistakes. My phone has gone off. Much as you're in a routine, you can see it's like a spaceship. So we ourselves, we mispronounce names, we do so many things incorrectly. So what we're going to do for everybody listening is that we are going to, at 1:30, go to Eyewitness News headlines as per normal, and Mpemete is going to get his first go at doing the traffic report. Don't worry if you are on the roads and you're like, but what if? Don't worry, Karabo is still with us. When we come back, we'll do feedback, and feedback will include if anything was missed that you need to be aware of on the roads. And then we'll have a feedback session. And of course, we want to hear from all of you. So this is going to be your very first traffic bully in your life. Yeah. And I'm so excited for you. Sure. And just so you know, we still get nervous.
Yeah.
Even after 10,000 hours, we still get nervous. That is normal. It means you still care about what you're doing.
I think I'm more nervous than him.
You are.
Because I'm mentoring him, and then now it's being scrutinized.
No, you must trust yourself. Trust yourself.
And I think also, as we prepare, like many things can go wrong. Sure. So just be mindful of the fact there have been moments where the news jingle goes and a news person doesn't start. And that could happen for a number of reasons. The person could have collapsed. So you always have to be ready to be on mic. That is a piece of advice I would give you, because I've had times where I'm like, now, because news is the time where we can quickly run to the bathroom, quickly drink something. But 5 seconds of no talking on radio is a long time. And you feel it, because now everybody thinks something is wrong. So that's my tip to you. Are you feeling ready?
I am feeling ready.
Deep breath in and out.
Let's do this.
Let's do it. It's 1:30, time for your latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. As emergency officials continue to recover bodies from the Qiqiqa River today, Eastern Cape Premier Oscar Mabuyane says he cannot give an official death toll as bodies are recovered by the hour. Rescue personnel have been recovering bodies from different banks of the river that stretches alongside homesteads that now lie in ruins. This morning, volunteers in Colony Village just outside Mthatha pulled 3 bodies from the river, as well as an empty 22-seater Scholar Transport minibus. And Durban Deep Committee members in Johannesburg's West Rand gathered outside the Roodepoort Magistrates Court this morning, reiterating calls for government to step up efforts in curbing the growing scourge on child murders. The community's plea comes after the discovery of Lukhona Fosa's mutilated body in the area a day after she was reported missing. The man accused of murdering the 14-year-old appeared in court today, following his arrest earlier this week after being taken in for questioning by police, who later linked him to the heinous crime. And a report into the investigation of the plane crash that claims the lives of 3 students is expected to be finalized in 30 days. 2 planes, which formed part of 3 planes formation from Durban to Pretoria, went missing last Sunday afternoon. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at 2 o'clock or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
And for the very first time in his life and in our Youth Month Thursday takeovers happening on a Wednesday, we have Mpemete Sebola. What's happening on our roads?
In your traffic in Tembisa, you can still expect more than an hour delay on the R21 north between the R25 Babsfontein off-ramp and the Olifantsfontein Road due to road work. So if you're leaving the OR Tambo International Airport heading towards Pretoria, your best alternative is Pretoria Road through the Kempton Park CBD and rejoining the R21 at Olifantsfontein Road. In Amalgam, traffic is slow approaching the intersection of Main Reef Road and Church Street due to faulty traffic lights. Traffic lights are out in Midrand at Old Pretoria Road and Olifantsfontein Road. There's also 40 traffic lights in Alexandra at Far East Bank at Marlborough Drive Road, as well as in Rand Park Ridge at the N1 and Bayer No Day Drive. If you come across any traffic issues, SMS us on 31702. We're also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Violent crime, robbery, rape, carjacking, mugging. Don't go there is the simple warning from the United States. Patricia DeLille, what was your reaction as the Minister of Tourism?
We respect the sovereignty of the USA to issue guidance to their citizens. We're not sitting back on our hands and doing nothing. We look forward to continuing to welcome travelers from the United States and across the globe.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Santam Fair Lady and True Love are looking for you. Entries for the Santam Women of the Future Awards close this Friday, the 13th of June, with 3 categories, including Woman of the Future, Rising Star, and Social Entrepreneur. This is more than a trophy. Winners share prizes worth 853,000 Rand, including 275,000 Rand in cash, mentorship, national publicity, and incredible networking opportunities. If you're a businesswoman building a brighter future or making a difference in your community, this is your time to shine. Enter now at womenofthefuture.co.za.
You're on with Philip. Go.
G'day, Philip. This is Steve.
Smart Steve from Momentum, eh?
Indeed. And do you know what's even smarter? Momentum has introduced new tech that's smarter than your smartphone.
Smarter than my smartphone. I doubt it, Steve.
Truce, Bob, it scans your heart rate, blood pressure, oxygen, and stress levels.
Wow. Can he make you a coffee, eh?
Well, not yet, but it can save you up to 35% on your monthly life insurance premiums.
Jeez, 35%? That sounds like a deal.
Just check with your financial advisor about Momentum Life Returns. Momentum, protecting your journey to success. Momentum is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Good health starts on the inside. Biogen Multivitamin Plus offers a comprehensive vitamin and mineral supplement designed to support daily energy and immunity, boost mental performance, and combat stress. Available in senior 50 plus and children's gummies too. You can have the whole family covered. Biogen, for the results you want. Visit biogen.co.za to find out how you can get up to 15% off Biogen products with Virgin Active.
Every small business owner knows that you got to dream big to achieve even bigger. And Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 understands that it takes guts and determination to show up for your customers and expand your business and your bottom line. That's why we're looking for all the SMEs of Gauteng that dare to reinvent, expand, and shake things up. You could win 200,000 Rand in cash and a 200,000 Rand advertising package to help you chase your small business dreams. So, if you're a small business that dares to disrupt the industry, enter on igniteyourbusiness.co.za for Nedbank Business Ignite on 702. T's and C's apply. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Your voice.
Your life.
Your afternoon radio.
On 702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabotja.
24 minutes to 2 o'clock, and we are slap bang in the middle of our Youth Takeover Thursday on 702 Afternoons with aspiring, now officially pretty much pro traffic reporter Ompemetse Sebola. Karabo, before I even get feedback from you, listen, let's get feedback from the listeners on 011 330 and the WhatsApp line 072702 on 702. Sebastian, go ahead.
Yo, Lebo, that guy is on fire. He is on fire. I, Karabo, you, Vangeli, Amo, please find other jobs.
Yes!
That is so amazing.
You're absolutely stunning. I'm taking it back for the second week in a row. 702 has challenged. honestly speaking, it is so beautiful to hear that we can really and truly, we've got a load of talent and a great show, Lebo. Keep it up.
Thank you so much for that one. And I'm going to read some of the WhatsApps. Yo. I'm reading it as is. Auslebo, the guy who did that traffic is good. He sounds like he's been doing it for so long. Kudos to him. Clap hands. Another one, Gitu in Heidelberg. Umpemete is such a natural, cool and composed. Well done. Another one says, Relebogile, that guy is natural. He is so good. Another, he is so good. Batung, Larishaisha, that was Karabo. It was not Umpemete. What? Somebody else, he's so good. Congratulations. We also have Mornay from North Riding. Mornay, what do you have to say?
Just a big shout out, compliment. You were super fantastic and clear and professional. You sounded like you belong there.
That is so kind of you, Mornay in North Riding. How does it feel getting that feedback?
Yeah, man. I knew I could do this. I just needed the mic.
You know what I love about what you just said is there are so many people who have an inner knowing and just need a platform.
Yeah.
And we are we're just doing our little bit in the little microcosm of the radio world. There are so many limited opportunities for spaces like this. And the messages are just coming and coming. Mentor.
Yes.
Charlie.
Judah, please invoice. That was flawless. That was perfect. I loved it. You didn't miss anything. You were clear. You know, I like the way you kind of stumbled at Bears No Dear, but you moved on. You know, that's radio. You know, you don't stop and go, "Ish, I made a mistake." But you've got that experience. You're a musician. You're an artist. You can't stop and show people that you made a mistake.
Don't do that,
So that was well done.
Sure.
And I think the part of you that's a performer has already trained you for the anxiety, right? Which is so helpful. So my only feedback is going to be as follows. I have zero issue with mispronunciation because it's all about communication, but don't miss words, a letter, sorry. So I'll give an example, Beyers Nordia. Even if you said Beyers Norda, we all would have known what you're saying. But Bayer, there are Bayer streets. So that it's not a slight confusion. So even if you accidentally said street instead of avenue, that changes the whole thing. So that's my only feedback. And another call, listen from Mamelodi. What's up?
Hi.
My Tommy.
I'm watching him live.
Oh, man.
My friend, you nailed it.
I love you, man.
You nailed it.
I love you, man.
It, my boy.
I love you, my friend.
I love you too, man.
Listen, a practicer. Has he just been a practicer this thing?
My sister, from the get-go, since I met him, the guy has been in and about, man.
Yeah.
Man, he's been. God damn. I'm so
I'm getting guys, I can't do this every week for Youth Month. Listen, thank you so much. Jerry Kopitori. Earring. Jerry. Jerry can't hear us now. Yes, go ahead, Jerry. Jerry's network is not doing so well. Maybe something's up with the traffic somewhere because of the network. So here's what's going to happen. You are going to head out with Karabo Jali. Karabo's going to come back and do 2 p.m. unless he feels you are ready to take on. Because we know people tune in for that exact one that is taking place. Né? And then Karabo will give you whatever feedback. And when you come back, I would like not just a fresh bully, but I want to hear you try to read the map.
Okay.
Which is
pressure.
It's a lot of pressure.
Sure.
But the beautiful thing is, here it's personality-driven radio. in that you're not just a newsreader or just you are a person. So even if Oseshaw, even if whatever it is, you be real with the listeners. We be like that here. We laugh with each other when we mispronounce, we whatever. We family about it. So then you'll still get then another turn to do the half past. And maybe I might throw you a curveball just cause.
Throw.
Throw as a curveball.
Just throw, I'll catch.
You'll catch. Here's another voice note.
Hey, Relebogile and you and the guys in studio. You know, I used to think that you guys get your information via the JMPD or those traffic points, those insurance points, guys. It's interesting.
So, did that used to be the case?
It's still the case. Like I say, you have to verify everything, you know. If you see delays on the N1 and you're not sure, you can't just say there's delays. Find out what's going on. Call the JMPD. Call the outsurance points people. Are you guys going to go to that intersection? Are those traffic lights really not working? Maybe they're not there yet, but as soon as they get there, they will confirm it with you.
Okay, and then in terms of specific relationships that you try to build with your network of people that need to keep you in the loop. Is that something you do personally? Is it something that is like an EWN thing? Does everybody have their own style?
Okay, we've got a database. So we've got a list of JMPD, we've got a list of Ekurhuleni Metro Police, we've got a list of Tshwane Metro Police. So there's specific people we call to get official information. So, and with the outsurance points people, those people are also officials.
Yes.
So there's also Sunral, you know? Sunral, they have
road agencies.
Road agencies, they've got cameras on the highway. So on Twitter, they post those pictures of what's happening on the highway. So you get a better picture of what's really happening. So, yeah.
So the last question I would ask, with 702 being a regional station, we are in Gauteng, but technically we're global because people tune in from all over the world. But we prioritize Gauteng. How do you decide when it is necessary to report on something outside of the region? Is it like, well, if we know it's Easter weekend and our people are heading to N1, you're going to mention Limpopo. If like with the snow in KZN.
100%.
So what are the other circumstances that you would think, hey, I have to tell the 702 listeners?
So obviously, like you're saying, going to KZN now, there's snow, there's things like that. People are traveling still, so they're going to get stuck. So you make sure that if you are leaving Gauteng, be aware that you're going to have this issue when you get to Harry Smith. So allow for extra traveling time or chill a little bit. Don't go. Maybe go later. We'll update you on when to leave Gauteng. So those kind of scenarios, like you say, holiday season, we monitor the major highways. So when Easter holidays, we know Moria, people are going to go there. We make sure that they're up to date with the traffic situation. Heading towards Durban, heading towards Cape Town, heading towards Northwest. Holiday season, that's when we mostly look at other routes outside of Gauteng.
And of course, anything that's like national news, like if there was, an 8-truck collision anywhere, it would be mentioned.
Yes.
What happened to, because I just remember there was a time, and I don't know if it was an early breakfast thing or it's a general thing, where we would update people on flights. And maybe that was prior. Wasn't that a traffic person's job?
Yes, definitely. I was telling him about it because we were going through the tab. I'm like, oh, this flight thing is still, I haven't done breakfast in a while, but then we know that usually flights arrive early in the morning, international flights. So we tell people who are fetching people from the airport to expect delays because that flight is delayed. So you're going to wait at the airport or don't leave yet. Maybe travel later to pick up whoever. Yeah, so those were very important and it should come back because I thought it was relevant.
Yeah.
Nice. So obviously then, if like, for example, when I was leaving for Mauritius, the system at the airport was offline. All flights were delayed. That's important information for people to know. So you being a traffic person, you also worry about the traffic in the sky.
Because ultimately it's going to affect traffic here on the ground.
Yes.
So,
do you guys have relationships with taxi bosses by any chance? Because sometimes they are the cause.
Yes, I have a list of Santaco, Watawo,
Really?
all of them. So when there's like recently there's been taxi violence.
Yes.
And my editor's like, Karabo, what's happening? Why are they shooting each other? I have to find out. So yeah, that's also part of my job. I'm also a journalist. I have to give them more information. Like we say, we communicate with the newsroom, with the news editor. When there's protest, I have to keep them updated at the newsroom because we all have to be in one tune.
Yes.
You know, she can't say there's no protest or protests are still happening, but then on my side, those protesters are dispersed. So we always have to be communicating with each other.
Final question, and I asked this of Tolegele as well when we were doing sport, is how has being a studied, qualified journalist helped you? Because we do know in our industry you can get away without a qualification, but there's certain things that a qualification has given you that might help, or the other way around.
Well, there's things that you shouldn't do and things that you should just be aware of. Like, for instance, verifying whatever story you're running, you know. You can't just go there with one source of information, you know, and you must be credible all the time, you know. You can't come here and make up stories.
Yes.
You must always be on time because
Yes.
radio is all about time, you know. You can't be late. So
he's missed some traffic reports because all that happens is we're not connected where you phone somebody. In our previous building, traffic was in the middle of the office.
Yes.
Literally by the desk, you would do your traffic at your station. Now in this building, you have to come downstairs. So it's very easy. You have to be a person who's an independent worker. No one's going to come to you and say, don't forget to go downstairs. And on days where, for example, we have a State of the Nation address starting right on time, there'll be exceptions where we have to do things early. So you also got to be flexible to what's happening. I wish you the best of luck for when you come back. People are rooting for you. There's somebody who's saying, oh my gosh, I am learning so much with this session. I have great news for all of you. You will continue to learn even more. We will be back.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comments@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
Experience the passion, drama and elegance of Carmen with Mzansi Ballet at Peter Torin's Monte Casino Theatre from the 11th to the 29th of June. Get ready to be mesmerized. Mzansi Ballet is a dance company that identifies and cultivates young South African talent. The company brings together these emerging artists with seasoned professionals to create performances that authentically convey South African stories while respecting the cultural and historical aspects of classical ballet. Get your tickets now at Web Tickets or Pick and Pay. 702 listeners can enjoy a 50% discount on top-tier tickets for Carmen by simply entering the code 702 at checkout.
It took time to create the life you've built. Every milestone, every moment, you've earned it. Indra takes the time to understand what's priceless to you, tailoring insurance to match a life of distinction. True peace of mind comes from knowing that everything you've worked for is insured with precision. It starts with a conversation. It starts with helloindra.co.za. Indra Risk Services is an authorized financial services provider.
Get ready for the 26th edition of the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. 3 memorable days from the 26th to the 28th of September across 4 spectacular stages of the Sandton Convention Center. Join over 50 incredible world-renowned stars like Esperanza Spalding. She's amazing. The Baylor Project, Andile Nana, Michelle Ndegochuelo, Trezor, Jose, James, Huamo, Sangere, Jasmine Horn, Gabi Motuba, Benjamin Jefter, Nomfundo Kaluva, Mongi Ngobo, Lekachea, Benjamin, Alune Wade, and others. on a musical journey deep into the heart and art of jazz. Take me there. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster now.
702 Finance Feature.
In our finance feature for today at 8 minutes to 2 o'clock, we're talking about Adulting 101 and how to handle your first paycheck with Deborah Slabber, who is Director and Portfolio Specialist at Morningstar Investment Management. Deborah, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, Lebo, and thank you so much for having me.
I love these conversations that really get to empower young people. And some of us grew up in homes where it was the traditional thing to do that your first paycheck goes to your parents to say thank you. But of course, times have changed.
Of course. I mean, I grew up in a time where it was taboo to talk about money. It was absolutely never discussed in our homes at all. So I hear you.
Okay, so what are some of the things a person needs to think about when it comes to this first paycheck? Because I realize that when I was starting out, the idea of even just asking for a dummy payslip never crossed my mind. I just was told this is going to be your first salary, which at the time was weekly salary working in the theater. And then you're like, oh, it's not the amount we spoke about. There's cuts. What are these things? In fairness, I was in matric.
No, absolutely. So, Lebo, there's so many things that you can actually teach yourself by literally just going onto the internet and finding out what are these different terms and get yourself familiar with the lingos. I think one of the biggest mistakes that young people make is not knowing the absolute basics about what's going on in your salary, what tax is deducted, the basics of savings and investments, what is going to a retirement account, and what's left at the end of the day. And even talking about your own spending, setting up a budget, how does that work? There are so many different aspects to this, and it can feel overwhelming, yes, but I think just start small and start with the basics.
So how much, Deborah, because there is this part of me that is, I feel like I saved a lot when I was younger. There's a part of me that really feels like a person should also be able to spoil themselves within limits. Can you share with us what within limits means? Because it doesn't mean blowing the check.
No, of course. So I think the biggest mistake that people make is think that saving and investing is so overwhelming. I need these big pots of money to contribute towards retirement or a tax-free savings account, and it's just too overwhelming. So I'm rather going to leave it, and I'm just going to spend my money rather. You can make such a big difference with very small things. So, for example, once a week or twice a week, don't buy your coffee at work. Make the coffee at work. Immediately you're going to save quite a lot of money. The same thing with bringing your lunch to work every day. It's such a small sacrifice. And at the end of the day, you'll have a lot more money later in your life to actually spend as you wish. So it's not about foregoing the small pleasures in life, not at all. It's just about being a little bit more mindful on the things that you spend on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, then in terms of what some of the common mistakes that young people make with their first paycheck, what would you say?
I would say first and foremost, one of the biggest mistakes that I've found is that young people actually take on a lot of debt early in their life because we all want that bigger car, we want the luxury goods, we want the expensive holidays, and instead what you're doing is you're just going down this rabbit hole of debt. So I think debt does come at a cost, so just make sure you take on debt for the right reasons. I think the second thing is not knowing the basics of savings and investment, so educating yourself. That's a big mistake that people make. And then I think the third thing is not realizing how powerful the concept of compounding is. That's why they call it the eighth wonder of the world. So you as a youngster, maybe that paycheck is not a lot and you don't have a lot of money left at the end of the month to save, but you have life's most valuable and precious commodity, and that is time. And all you need is time to save little by little, and a little by little, it becomes a lot.
I would love to add one, Deborah, which is to say, allow yourselves to figure out your first paycheck before committing. And I know with where we are economically and so many homes that become dependent on that one breadwinner, that this person doesn't even get a chance to figure out what their expenses are. That
Absolutely.
And I don't know if you agree with me. I know of people who say never tell people how much you're actually earning, if that's a good piece of advice, because then they budget with your income.
Yeah, I think that's absolute nonsense that we shouldn't talk about money. I think it's something that is so basic, but it's often overlooked in our schools. It's overlooked at our homes. So talking about money and good financial habits and what we're spending and what we're earning, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. And somehow we just grew up believing that it's a taboo topic, which I don't believe in.
I hear you completely. And I think that it is so great that we now are in a space where we are able to have such conversations, especially when it comes to what percentage of your income should be going where. There's some people who are like, okay, my first salary is 5,000 Rand a month. And then they're like, I'm going to buy a car. I have 5,000 Rand a month.
I know. And then we go down the debt rabbit hole, right? So, no, I absolutely 100% agree with you. I think people should talk about it more. And at Morningstar, we're incredibly passionate about helping young people to be educated about money and about investments. And it's actually, if you think about it, there's so many other aspects of life that you can apply it to. I mean, to small habits making a big impact. If you think about, you can't get fit overnight. You don't lose weight overnight. You're not going to get rich overnight, or very few people are in a position to get rich overnight. So it's about small habits that build over time. And if you set up that system from a young age, you're in for a very, very good financial freedom over time.
Deborah, thank you so much for your time on 702 Afternoons.
This week on Polytricking with Sidi Madia.
The national officials have come to a decision to redeploy Commander Floyd Shibambo as the Secretary General of the party.
The certainty around Floyd continuing as the SG, a lot of people suggesting that he's actually trading on a very, very thin line.
Look, none of us own these positions. So there is an understanding. I always say, look, when you get appointed to this, you don't ask questions why. So when you get shifted, you ask 100 questions. Yeah. The instability, in a way, doesn't faze me personally because of maybe where we've been with the EFF.
Advocate Dalimpofu.
Listen to the full episode on primemediaplus.com. Polytricking with Sidi Madia on EWN. In touch, in tune, and independent.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult, day 3,268. I love payday because my salary would look huge to 15-year-old me, but that's in 2011 money, not 2024 money. 28-year-old me is not so easily embraced.
Recently removed from the family payroll. Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's like 570 Rand a month, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
Are you in your deal-making season? Your I'm on the rise season? Your finer things in life season? You'll love the Hussa Grill seasonal lunch offer. Enjoy a 2-course meal for only 199 Rand. Perfect for that business lunch, lunch with friends, or a solo date for some quality time with self. Now that's the deal of the season. Available Monday to Saturday, 12 to 4 p.m. The Hussa Grill, celebrating 60 years of excellence.
In the next hour of the show, a masterclass on mastering your CV and job search strategy. Call everybody, young and not so young, for this is 2 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Maki Malapo. We begin in the Eastern Cape, where the death toll from the devastating floods is expected to rise as bodies are recovered by the hour. Eastern Cape rescue personnel have been deployed to the Takeover River near Umtata, where homestays now lie in ruins. An empty Scholar Transport minibus is among the rubble pulled from a river into Colony Village today, but the 16 occupants are still unaccounted for. 3 bodies were also recovered from the river, with the death toll now surpassing 10. Mwengezukoko has more.
We've
travelled to the nearest village hugging the Qiqiqa's banks, where entire homesteads lie in ruins, livestock float in shallow eddies, and shocked residents still search the debris for missing relatives. I'm standing among what used to be a cluster of homes, now nothing but torn thatch and mud-caked bricks. Goats and cattle swept away over the past 2 nights lie scattered like broken toys along the water's edge. Rescuers moved between them, dragging ropes through the silt, hoping not to find what they know lurks below. Premier Oscar Mabuyane says the ledger of loss is still being written and written in water.
Because we see numbers are increasing, the discoveries are increasing. A couple of bodies have been removed from the river.
For this village, the count is not just numbers, it is names, faces and empty beds. Monki Zikoko, Eyewitness News, the Colony Village in the Eastern Cape.
The Durban Deep community in the west of Johannesburg is pleading with the government to step up efforts to curb the rising murders of young women and children in the country. Community members gathered outside the Relebogile Magistrates Court following the appearance of Mduduzi Mnisi, who is charged with the premeditated murder of Likhona Fose. The 14-year-old's mutilated body was discovered not far from her home a day after she was reported missing. Mnisi was arrested earlier this week after being taken in for questioning and was later found to be linked to the murder. Some women gathered outside the court held placards written "Justice for Likhona." Community member Tozama Nkosi.
Since May, how many children who are girls have died? Horrible deaths. We plead with government to do the right thing. We are hurt as mothers. You send your child out to the shop. You sit worried if she will come back alive.
A digital forensic analyst is under cross-examination in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial, fielding questions on photos that were downloaded on one of the alleged intruder's phones. The court is dealing with data from Bongani Ntanzi's phone as the state seeks to compare his appearance to the description given by witnesses. Warrant Officer Lawrence Ndlovu has confirmed for the court that the data presented in court is the same as the cell phone downloads he conducted in 2021. But lawyer for the defense, Advocate Charles Mnisi, has questioned how he would know.
Uma ngabe ngicheck from page 1 igcina 5,000 then ngiya kule CD engibhenile nayo ngicheck ukuthi iqala ku page 1 to 5,000 umsebenzi wami ngiyazi ukuthi kuyafana.
There is no need to compare the pages. That what I did was the main source is from page 1 up to 5,000. Then I would then also go back to the CD, check that it starts from page 1 and up to page 5,000, and also check if it says 5 gig on the side, and then on the other side as well it says 5 gig.
In KwaZulu-Natal, a report into the investigation of a plane crash that claimed the lives of 3 students in the province is expected to be finalized in 30 days. 2 planes, which formed part of a formation of 3 planes from Durban to Pretoria, went missing last Sunday afternoon. They were found around Greytown area on Monday. Student pilots Ngobi Lebiela, Lula Mamsane and medical student Spesi Hlebutelezi died when their plane crashed in a bushy terrain after diverting to refuel in Greytown. Provincial Transport Department spokesperson Ndabezi Nhlesibiya says investigation report will give closure to the grieving families.
He has stressed that we are fully aware that post-mortem examinations of the victims by trained pathologists will be critical in terms of highlighting conservative factors, crash injuries and survival factors.
And the Umkhonto weSizwe Party says it will reject the fiscal framework and revenue proposals when it is put to the vote in the National Assembly this afternoon. This will be the second time a fiscal framework to underpin the 2025 budget is put to the vote after Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana tabled a new budget in the House 3 weeks ago. MK Party's finance spokesperson MP Des van Rooyen says public input into the budget process is being ignored and the fuel levy that came into effect last week will harm the poor. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
The MK Party has condemned the repeated attempts by the Finance Minister to table a budget, saying it's a betrayal of public trust and it contributes to socio-economic instability. Yesterday, a motion from the party to censure Enoch Godongwana for gross mismanagement failed, but the party's Des van Rooyen says it's not the end of the budget road.
There are various processes that we will continue to take advantage of to hold the minister accountable.
Van Rooyen says replacing a value-added tax increase with a fuel levy reveals a lack of empathy for the poor.
This among other things, exposes the so-called GNU inability to respond to South Africa's humanitarian crisis of unemployment, poverty, and inequality.
Van Rooyen says Godongwana's growth projections are also overly optimistic. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Gold's trading at $3,336.10 an ounce. The rand's at 17.76 to the dollar, at 23.97 to the pound, at 20.31 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $67.70 a barrel.
In Tembisa, some good news heading towards Pretoria. Traffic is now free flowing on the R21 northbound between the R25 and Olifantsfontein Road. However, in Amalgam, traffic remains sluggish heading into the Joburg CBD on Main Reef Road. Between Nasrec Road and the M2, and in Naturina, heading towards El Dorado Park, there's slow-moving traffic on the Golden Highway between Chris Hani and the N1.
A look at your weather. Clear skies in Gauteng this afternoon. Temperatures have peaked at highs between 11 and 14 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. The death toll from the devastating floods in the Eastern Cape is expected to rise as bodies are recovered by the hour.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Your voice,
Your station, 702.
we are listening to you. You're with Relebogile Mabotja
Live, streaming countrywide.
on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856
92.7.
and 106 FM.
8 minutes after 2 o'clock, it is the second and final hour of 702 Afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja. And in this hour, we do what we do on a Wednesday, which is have a masterclass. It's Youth Month, so we are going all out for the young people, but also those who are just young at heart and want to elevate themselves and evolve and grow, maybe even pivot. We're talking about mastering your CV in today's masterclass and your job search strategy, especially in a time like now where things are super quiet, opportunities are few, great working places are also few. We're going to be joined by General Manager and Certified Coach at Novalo Learning Center, Thulisile Mgidi, for the conversation. And then we will have our young person taking over on Pemete coming through to do another traffic read for us at past. Make sure you stay tuned just to hear the feedback. Let's continue to give him some love, which we already appreciate all of you having done so far. Get in touch with us. Give us a call, 011 883 0702. SMS us 31702. Tweet at Relebogile M, at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 Afternoons, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702.
Masterclass.
Masterclass time. We are talking about mastering your CV and job search strategy. Today we're joined by Thulisile Mgidi, General Manager and Certified Coach at Novalo Learning Center. And this might seem like a small thing, but putting together a CV has changed and evolved over the years. It really is a skill. And for as long as you are somebody who is working, you need to have the skills within you, because anything can happen. You might think you're settled. You might think you're okay. Anything literally can happen. 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Welcome to the show, Thulisile. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Relebogile. Thank you for having me in your show, and hello to all the 702 landers.
I want to just kick off with the very basics of what is the purpose of curriculum vitae.
I think the main important thing is it's your first introduction to a possible employer. So I always tell guys that we coach that it's almost the story of your professional journey, most of the time from matric up until the point where you currently are at, wherever that might be in your life.
Okay, and have you found that the purpose of a CV has kind of changed over the years? Because I think about back in the day, what would be included, as opposed to what's included in CVs now?
Yep. So I think over time it does evolve. And because I think now it's more focused and really pinning the point of what the possible employer is looking for. Whereas in the past, we almost were generic, we were standard, and we're like, take this thing and we'll throw it at everybody. You can't do that now. Now you have to tailor it to that particular employer that you are applying for that specific position for.
So if we look back in the days, and I'm talking back in the days of our own personal lives when we were younger, but also back in the days of how things were done, I almost feel like the CV was so precious because there was no email. We were printing, we were faxing. It was a whole different ball game in the sense that so much had to go into it for it to be right.
I think a lot still needs to go into it. It's just different. Yes, back then, I don't want to say my time, before my time even, it was a matter of knocking on different possible employers' doors, leaving your CV there in hard copy. You know, you had to make it look all nice and pretty. And now that's not the case. Now the fortunate part, you can do it from the comfort of your home. But the work that now goes into it is that every application needs to be tailor-made. And I think that is the one mistake that very often happens, is that young people still think, Kenali CV, and I'm just going to take the CV and apply everywhere. And that's not what is required now, especially with ATS software that currently is in place now.
Tell us what ATS software is, because I mean, that's the question I was going to say is, back in the day, people would sit and read CVs manually that are dropped off, and now your CV goes through some system and filters through on your behalf.
Yeah. So it is quite important. So the ATS is your applicant tracking system softwares, which most organizations make use of in this day and age. And what it essentially does is that it already picks up your information and puts that information into the system to essentially filter whether you are a potential candidate for the position or not, which is why it becomes so much more important to understand how the ATS softwares essentially work, what not to do when applying for jobs on the internet or online where you need to upload your CV.
Okay. And do you think, and I mean, this is a whole conversation altogether in the sense that the system will never be perfect, but there are ways that you automatically get kicked out the system. Tell me what are some of those ways, and I'll give an example of something that, some might say I'm being too strict. But for me, if you have a spelling error or a grammatical error in your CV, I can't hire you because a lot of the work we do is writing.
I suppose that is a very strict point.
Yes.
But I think it will be specific to what job you're applying for. So obviously with entry level, some things you can overlook. But the one, I want to call it's cardinal sin. When I see a CV like this, even for my human eye, I'm just like, what were you doing?
Tell me.
When you photocopy or scan your CV. So there are still people who don't.
As opposed to it being like a
on
pure
PDF. Directly from PDF. And some reason people will make their CV on Word, save it on PDF, but still print it and then scan it and use the scanned copy as the copy that they're applying for. And when you do that, the ATS cannot read it at all because it almost comes in as a complete image and it can't pick up the words, anything that you are actually saying there. And that's why I said, even for me, with a naked eye, if I get such CVs, it's like I automatically just like,
wow, that's so fascinating that you look at it that way. And I mean, obviously, it's always within context. Like if somebody's busy interviewing au pairs, you might not need their grammar to be phenomenal, so it is okay. But if it's like a content producer or even like a media space, a person who's making grammatical errors, even when we have the software that checks for you, that's when you're like, But
that's also why I think a lot of employers are like, how can you have a grammar error? Because there are so many AI tools, or any tool, Word in itself tells you if there is an error or anything like that. So to a potential employer, it's like you pay no attention to detail to your own work, because the CV is your first showcasing of your brand, of who you are potentially. So you're going to have spelling errors and walk in there and say, I have attention to detail as one of my skills. And the first thing they're going to say to you, please point out the spelling error. That is, so
you see, if you put skills, attention to detail, and then you don't. Okay, that's a good one. We need to take a break, but get your questions in for our guests today. But also share, those of you that are hiring managers, those of you that are in recruitment, those of you that are bosses, what are the things that you look out for? The purpose of this conversation is for us to guide and assist young people, not just with mastering their CVs, but also their job search strategy. 17 minutes after 2 o'clock.
Kickstart your small business with a starter bundle from Nedbank. Enjoy free transactions for 6 months, including free cash deposits and withdrawals and a free debit card with easy digital access and a dedicated banker to guide you along every step of the way. Open a Nedbank starter bundle with SA's best bank for SMEs. Apply on the Money app today. Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Dreaming of your next getaway? Whether it's a sun-soaked beach escape, adventure-packed tour, or luxury cruise, Flight Centre is your go-to for travel. From flights and hotels to tours and cruises, we've got it all. Plus travel insurance for peace of mind. If you want the best deals, you can save more by taking advantage of our Bundle Plus Save offer. Plan your trip today at your nearest Flight Centre store or visit flightcentre.co.za. Flight Centre, your centre for travel.
Just like your last breakup, commitment is messy. Leave the chaos behind and find something new to hold on to with Frentosa. Discover subscriptions on tech, appliances and more that will make your heart go bum, bum, bum. No red flags here, only green flags like month-to-month payments, zero penalty fees and the flexibility to upgrade or downgrade whenever. Not feeling the connection? No ghosting needed. Simply return it for something new that'll give you that spark you're looking for. Commitment is messy. Just Rentosa it. Download the app, visit the website and join our WhatsApp channel.
77% of South Africans rely on themselves for decision-making around financial advice, while 12% trust relatives and friends as a reliable source.
702 and Momentum invite you to share the money moments that didn't go as planned. Because every financial misstep has something to teach us.
And now, it could also reward you.
Hit primemediaplus.com and tell us about the time you followed financial advice that backfired.
Because it didn't quite fit your unique context. You could win 10,000 Rand in cash. Thanks to Momentum.
This week, tune into 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. Weekdays from 6 a.m. because we could be calling you to share your story.
Turn your financial regret into something greater. Turn it into reward.
T's and C's and more at primemediaplus.com.
702
Masterclass. 19 minutes after 2 o'clock, we're continuing with our masterclass on mastering your CV and job search strategy with Thulisile Mgidi, General Manager and Certified Coach at No Valo Learning Center. We take your calls with your questions and comments on 011 883 702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. The more tips, the better. And maybe share with us what you are finding challenging with your own CV that you might be struggling. We know that the economy is in a terrible place at the moment. There are so few opportunities, and the ones that are there are not the best. I saw somebody recently just expressing completely that they quit their job without a plan because the toxicity was too much for them. So not only is it bad with there being no jobs, it is also bad with there being no great jobs of just healthy environments. 011 883 702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. I want to share something, Thulisile, that I want to make a massive observation on, and I've been wanting to make a video about it. Just with what we've been doing with this Youth Month takeover that we're doing. And we put out clear instructions. So part of my post, and I'm going to quickly find it to share with you. And I feel like prior to even the CV part is I find a lot of people do not follow instructions. Like as in they are just in a hurry to send a CV without completely following instructions. So I'm going to read what the post said, right? And then I want to hear your thoughts. So it says, This youth month, I'm making space behind the month every Thursday in June on 7:02 afternoons with Relebogile Mabotja. We're sharing parts of the show to young, aspiring radio professionals. So opportunities, talk show host, newsreader, sports presenter, traffic reporter, we're giving you a chance to shadow, learn, and most importantly, be heard. Then we say, it's your moment on air. It's a practical learning experience, confidence boost, and you get to have a professional demo with you to get your next step in broadcasting. We want real talk radio and radio fans or the loved ones who believe in them to plug them. If you know someone with the voice, passion, and presence for talk radio, send an email to 702afternoons@702.co.za with your name and age, desired role, short motivation, and 1-minute demo. Of the things we've received, what percentage would you estimate followed the instructions?
I would take a guess of 40%.
Probably around there. Now, I'm removed from the situation, but my producer fills me in. Firstly, we did not mention that we need a CV. Have you noticed? We did not mention that we needed a CV.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to open up an opportunity to people who might not have experience. We said name and age, desired role, and then short motivation, 1-minute demo. So can I share with you what some of the common mistakes are? The first one was people DMing me and not sending an email. DMing me, reaching out to my manager saying, put in a good word. All those people posting me, please tag Relebogile. That's number one. Number two, the subject lines were not clear. So we're not giving clear instruction. But people who paid attention would say, Youth Month Takeover newsreader application. Straightforward. Then, how many people do you think gave a 1-minute demo? There were some 45-minute demos, right? Of just demos of them doing certain things. And then we made it clear where we say we want real talk radio and radio fans. So you get the people who recorded a demo specifically for us, right, on their phone, and you get the ones who recorded a generic demo where there's music in the background and they are saying, that was a DJ on the ones and twos, So I want your thoughts on this, and I am going to still do a full video for everybody. I was so frustrated with some of these because I'm like, some of you have so much talent, but the simple thing of
it won't get to the other side, and that is very, very true. That's some of the frustrations that we sit with, because when you meet a person face to face, you're like, oh my word, such great potential and all of this. But I never even picked up your CV, or I never even gave you an opportunity because of the smallest of things, of following instructions, sending an email without a subject at all, blank. You have no idea what it is intended for. I think also young people we don't realize the value of time, because if somebody's sending you a 45-minute clip, who do you think is listening to that clip?
And then on top of it, so even if you want to skim through, I mean, my producer, bless her soul, still replied certain people to say, you did not follow instructions, which is her time. Yeah. She doesn't have to do that.
Remember, employers, that's very kind of her to do that.
It's manual.
Employers don't care, because the quicker I can swift through everybody, the quicker I can filter and get to my top 10, the better. It's about how efficient I can get to the top 10 that did follow the instruction. And just like that, even if you might think that I do meet the criteria or anything, you've fallen off because of the simple thing, you did not read instructions, which again comes to something where somebody says, I've got the skill to follow instructions. And if you failed to follow the instruction in the job application, in the email, in whatever it was, how can I take your word for it? Already I'm like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Because that often happens, that I've seen people will Google skills or what are the top skills to have, and they will just plug it into their CVs. And you're like,
yeah.
And then it gets to the interview. That's where you see, and you're like, oh, so tell me a time when you demonstrated effective communication.
Silence.
what is effective communication is what's going on
No,
in their head
they're
at that time.
literally
They're like,
thinking, can ChatGPT help me answer this question? So another thing, now I'm going to give a disclaimer because, of course, we're all human.
Yes.
I'm going to give a very simple example. I am not a job seeker in the professional sense, right? My CV needs to remain a portfolio updated. Now, I had to go into a pitch. And what I do, because I've done pitches a million times, but sometimes you forget certain things. I did a pitch this week, and what we didn't see in the email is that because we're used to pitching to this client, that they had added a new line to the pitch, which was, if you're going to play videos for us, you need to send it to us before. So my team, you know, we regularly will say, as we're prepping, rehearsing, quickly triple check the list. Then we realize, we didn't send the video before, okay? Now I'm trying to call this person to say, hey, I just want to triple check. Am I sending the video as is? Am I sending it embedded? I didn't get hold of the person. By the Lord's grace and favor, the video played fine in the thing. But if it did not, they would have had every right to say, well, you did not follow the simple instruction, because all these different screen sharing things, they're not the same. Glitches happen. Sometimes you try to play a video, the sound is out of sync, and in our media space, that's important. So we still make those mistakes of not following instructions. What do we do here?
I think this is where you always, and it's human nature, where mistakes will happen, where mistakes can happen. But you can always rely on somebody else to proofread something. Just make sure that, can somebody else just have a look? And I think especially with those of us who have perhaps been in the job market, or you've done something over and over before, that's actually where the blind spots actually lie. It lies with us who think we have experience in doing this particular thing. I've attended interviews, I've done CVs, and then that's where you miss it. And you might think, but I've been applying to ShopRite every year, and ShopRite, the teller posts say ABCD.
Yes.
In that particular, and especially now with technology, because things change so quickly, people have reasons as to why they want those videos to come in beforehand.
Yes.
People will change just a small thing because they know that in the past, if perhaps ShopRite said, yes, you can go to any ShopRite and drop off your CV.
Yes.
Now they could literally just say, no, email it to XYZ. And it takes those small things just to always be aware that change can happen. It's part of be adaptable. If you're going to say your skill is, I'm willing to adapt, this is one of those things. It seems small, but I could come back and say, but you were not adaptable to the different process of application that we now had.
Yes.
And so therefore, yes, I've shortlisted you 2 years ago, but you didn't follow the 2025 instructions.
Which shows that you're not evolving with us and growing with us. I mean, the other one I just thought about now is the fact that we shouldn't be afraid to share with our inner circle. My friends and I, we regularly do it. We will say, I need a second eye on this thing. I need a second eye on this email. Or please, can you just take a look at my CV? Yeah. Just have a second eye of somebody who genuinely wants you to do well, where they can say, Chomi, that selfie is not appropriate.
You need those friends, eh? You really.
You know,
I've got friends who send me their CVs and say, hey, Tuli, just have a look for me. You know, what works, what doesn't work. And you give that. If somebody genuinely cares, and that's why I always say, and I mean, now thinking about it in Youth Month, if you can give somebody, if you are more experienced and you have a job, and you can give somebody just 5 minutes of your time to review their CV, it can make the world of difference to somebody else who doesn't, because we don't know what we don't know. And it just helps to have somebody who does know.
And also, a good friend will ask, Chomi, are you submitting this for a specific job application? Send it to me. Yeah. Because then I'll say to you, the fact that you were a head girl, Gaston at 5 is irrelevant. We'll talk more about that when we come back. And we are continuing with our Youth Thursday takeover, Youth Month Thursday takeover on a Wednesday. We have Umpemetse in studio with us, aspiring traffic reporter who's doing super well. And when we do come back, we will get an opportunity to see how he does. It's 2:30. Time for your latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. The death toll from the devastating floods in the Eastern Cape is expected to rise as bodies are recovered by the hour. Eastern Cape rescue personnel have been deployed to the Takeover River near Umtata, where homesteads now lie in ruins. An empty Scholar Transport minibus among the rubble pulled from a river in Colony Village today, but some of the 16 occupants are still unaccounted for. Meanwhile, in KwaZulu-Natal, the N2 highway between Port Shepstone and Kokstad in the province has now been reopened. Southern parts of the province were hit by snow since Monday night, while most parts experienced heavy rains, strong winds and thunderstorms. The Transport Department in the province says it dispatched graders to clear snowfall that blocked parts of the national route. And LA police say they've made mass arrests after a fifth day of protests over U.S. President Donald Trump's immigration raids. Mayor Karen Bass declared an overnight curfew within a relatively small area of the city's downtown district, saying businesses were being vandalized and looted. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at 3 o'clock or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
And for his final traffic report of the day, give it up, Sebola. What is happening on our roads? I see on the WhatsApp line there is something going on the N3. Everybody is complaining, but I can't see pictures. What's going on?
In your traffic in Tembisa, some good news heading towards Pretoria. Traffic is now free-flowing on the R21 north between the R25 and Olifantsfontein Road. However, in Amalgam, traffic is still sluggish approaching the intersection of Main Reef Road and Church Street due to faulty traffic lights. While in Naturena, the slow-moving traffic heading towards Devland on the Golden Highway between Chris Hani and the N1. And in Midrand, looking at the map now, there's an accident seen on the N1 North near New Road, causing heavy delays. Rather use Old Pretoria Road or the R55. Traffic lights are out in Midrand at Old Pretoria Road and Olifantsfontein Road. There's also faulty traffic lights in Alexandra at Far East Bank at Marlborough Drive Road. If you come across any traffic issues, SMS us on 31702. We're also on X at EWN Traffic. Mbangeli Nzuza will have your next traffic report just after 3.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Every time we're on the radio, we're not just talking.
We're turning words into actions.
Actions that change communities.
Actions that make a difference.
And every time you tune into 702, you're not just listening to the radio.
You're in conversation with us.
And your voice matters. You're on a journey with us, and every step we take counts.
It's these steps that not only help us grow as individuals,
but also bring us together as a society through the good times and the bad.
Every step gets us closer to the South Africa we want to be.
So, keep walking with 702.
And let's make this a journey to remember.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
Get ready for the 26th edition of the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. 3 memorable days from the 26th to the 28th of September across 4 spectacular stages of the Sandton Convention Centre. Join over 50 incredible world-renowned stars like Esperanza Spalding, Andile Yenana, Trey Soar, Benjamin Jefta, Nomfundo Aluva, Mongi Ngobo, and others on a musical journey deep into the heart and art of jazz. Take me there. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster now.
At Bright, we don't just provide business insurance, we insure your business's
future success.
Because your business is so much more than desks and computers and equipment, which is why we use our specialist expertise to tailor solutions for each client differently to ensure what's really important. So insure your businesses
financial security
with Bright today. Contact your broker or go to brightinsure.co.za to find out more. Bright. Approach risk with purpose. Bright is a licensed insurer and authorized FSP.
We spend a lot of time looking for deals, but we don't invest the same time in our health. Your health buys you more time with the people you love. So who are you staying healthy for, and how can you improve your health? Choose Dis-Chem Life. The life cover that rewards you for living healthier with lower premiums and more cover. Visit dischemlife.co.za now. Dis-Chem Life. Choose a better partner for life. Dis-Chem Life is an authorized FSP 50594, underwritten by Guard Risk Life, a licensed life insurer FSP 76. T's and C's apply.
Every small business owner knows that you got to dream big to achieve even bigger. And Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 understands that it takes guts and determination to show up for your customers and expand your business and your bottom line. That's why we're looking for all the SMEs of Gauteng that dare to reinvent, expand, and shake things up. You could win 200,000 Rand in cash and a 200,000 Rand advertising package to help you chase your small business dreams. So, if you're a small business that dares to disrupt the industry, enter on igniteyourbusiness.co.za for Nedbank Business Ignite on 702. T's and C's apply. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Coming up
on 702 Drive with John Perlman.
702 Drive with John Perlman is coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. And of course, we have a youth takeover. So I'm going to kick off by finding out, John, have you had a listen to our budding and aspiring traffic reporter?
Yeah, I heard a little bit of it. It sounded great. And traffic's an incredibly important part of what we do. You are engaging with people who are dealing with a very fundamental thing. How do I get to and from the places that I've been and the places that I need to go to? So it's a vital part of all radio and drive radio in particular. So well done so far.
And people would think that because everybody now has GPS that they're using their phones. John, tell us why people still want to hear it from a credible voice on the radio.
So I think it's, you shouldn't be looking at your phone anyway when you're driving. My own experience of the apps is that they're sometimes behind, and I don't always get what I need. But certainly on our drive show, Vangeli is part of the show. He doesn't just provide us with traffic news, and it's true of all the presenters. Karabo is part of the conversation about other things as well. And I think the fact that people are getting this important information from a familiar voice, but also a familiar personality, gives it added weight. So it's not just information. It's information from someone who becomes part of your life, maybe even a friend.
Absolutely love that. And thank you for pointing out the fact that on drive shows, traffic reporters do participate in the show. For the remainder of the show, Umpemete will be a member of the conversation, which is a very important one for young people, in particular around mastering your CV and job search strategy. John Perlman, what's coming up on your show?
So, tragedy down in the Eastern Cape. The weather's played absolute havoc with people's lives. A scholar transport vehicle swept away. Mongezi Koko is in the area of Mthatha with the very latest on that. Our condolences, of course, to everybody who's suffering in those circumstances and the families of those learners in particular. He joins us sometime after 3. Terrible new study has come out about the extent of leopard hunting in southern Africa and the extent to which it is absolutely decimating the population of this beautiful animal. There's somebody in this study who boasts about having shot 167 leopards. Not all at once, but
still.
Yeah, the kind of things to be proud of, eh? Anyway, we'll talk about that at 10 minutes to 4. Parliament is busy debating the budget. We will catch up with that with both Babalo Ndenze and Lindsay Dentlinger a little bit later in the show. And then we want to find out a little bit more about the laws that govern the wearing of camouflage. Because you get organizations and political groups that wear camouflage, but by law, certain kinds of camouflage are reserved for the SANDF. Is this just another one of those laws that are on the books, but people kind of do what they like, or does it have some teeth? That's something we'll look at after 4 o'clock.
That is so interesting. I look forward to that one. John Perlman hosting 702 Drive from 3 to 6 p.m.
This June, 702 celebrates the youth of 1976.
Let's walk the talk.
20 minutes to 3 o'clock. We are continuing with our masterclass in a moment, but very quickly, as we have our youth takeover for today with Umpemete Sebola, who is aspiring traffic reporter. I am seeing some of the messages from earlier. One is saying, well done to the young intern doing traffic today. I can imagine it is nerve-wracking, but he nailed it. Another one says, yay, Umpemete read the traffic bulletins like a pro. Well done. Another one says, 9 out of 10 to the gentleman who read the traffic report that came through. Karabo Chali is mentor of the day. What feedback do you have?
Well, Relebogile and the motorists out there are still waiting to hear from you what's happening on the N3.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Were you thrown off?
Yeah, I was thrown off because I was like...
And I tried to tip you. So what went through your mind when I threw that at you?
I was like, you know what? As an artist, I'm trained to do what's in front of me.
Yes.
So I will go exactly where what I prepared, and I'll do it. And the entry one, yeah.
So here's the tip, right? Because anything can happen, be it in my role, be it in news role, is be real with the listeners.
Sure.
Rather say, yo, Relebogile, I'll find out about it. I am not clear yet, and I will come back to you.
Okay.
As opposed to acting like nothing happened. Because imagine, what's everyone in the car thinking? If you're hearing the host say, so many people are messaging, something's going on in the N3, and you're like, and on the N1, what do you think? What do you think is happening in the cars? People are like, what's going on?
Forgive me.
And to clarify, nothing is happening on the N3. This is part of the training. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's about you being able to get yourself up in a live broadcasting, because anything happens. We choke on air. I've lost my voice completely on air. Anything can happen, but the show goes on. Karabo?
Yes, well, like she was saying, you could have just said, at this stage, I don't know what's going on, but I'll look into it. Please, listeners, you are our eyes and ears. Let us know what's going on. Call us, SMS us, 31702. We're also on X. I'll have more details in the next bulletin. But I think you are just a natural. I think now Relebogile has been complaining about my traffic reports. There you go. You found your new person.
I've been telling everybody on my TikTok live in between. We all don't know why Karabo's here. We know why you are here.
So I think I was a great teacher because he was excellent. So I think I should do a career change.
Yes.
I think I should go into teaching.
I like it.
Because I enjoyed showing him around. It was a pleasure to teach.
Yeah, and I can also say he's been amazing. I've literally been eyes with him, eyes and I've been looking into his eyes all the time, and he's just been consistent. And yeah, man, thank you for that.
So now that you've had this time, what was the most difficult part of what you got challenged with today?
Definitely the map reading. Having to look at what's major and what to report on, because there's just a lot happening. Obviously, this is the capital city, so there's so much happening. So I've had to look into what to report on and how to let people know that.
The other one I would add is the traffic lingo.
Lingo, yeah.
Yes. So I wasn't so much paying attention to your lingo at all today, because I think that comes with habit. Mm-hmm. But when do you say congestion? When do you say, also November 1 as opposed to N1? Because N and M can sound exactly the same on air. Karabo?
So,
sorry, mic on. Always turn your mic on.
Absolutely.
So every traffic reporter has their own different style. So my pronunciation of N is pretty clear. M is pretty clear,
sure.
But then some would rather use, like Relebogile said, November 1 North, which is the N1 North, or Mike 1 North, which is the M1 North. So everybody has their different style of doing traffic, where now you'll also get your own voice. And when it comes to reading the map, obviously it's going to come with experience. What I picked up is that you had a problem with interpreting what's on the map and putting it on script.
Sure.
Which again, that will come with time. But so far, 100%.
Perfect comes from practice. And I would say, if you are so serious about this thing, you must even incorporate it into your phone calls. When somebody's answering, use the people around you. It sounds like it's very silly, but those are the people you're going to practice to. So even when your mom is calling, you're like, baby, okay, you stuck on the traffic in one. The congestion, mother, is, and it sounds silly, but muscle memory is a real thing in the work that we do. Mm-hmm. So do you see how when I say the phone numbers of the station, I don't read it?
Yeah.
It is in my muscle memory, fully. And that comes from doing it over and over. And the reason you need to have muscle memory is so your brain has capacity to deal with the other curveballs thrown at you. So you don't have the muscle memory yet. Hence, when somebody said the N3, everything you were thinking of went out your head. But curveballs can be thrown at me and I don't have to think what is the number of the station. Makes sense. Final thoughts, Karabo?
You've got your demo, Chief. You did 2 traffic reports. Go sell yourself. There's community radio stations. You've got potential. Just carry on pushing. And you're going to be a great broadcaster. No doubt about that.
Amazing.
I'll even say you are a great broadcaster. Thank you for responding to the call. Thank you for following instructions. Thank you because there are people who our producer emailed back 3 days later. They say, and we'll continue to talk about that then. But please make sure you stay with us for this conversation so that you can be our traffic person that, you can throw in a question here or there so that you can practice for Drive. Karabo, Charlie, well done, Chief Mentor Extraordinaire.
So it's Chile for me now, ne?
Aye,
done.
He's a professional. You only have to come back for our photo opportunity.
All right, we'll do.
All right, 14 minutes to 3 o'clock.
Remember when we were rocking just one bike, dreaming big for our delivery business?
Those days. Now we're here with a whole fleet of vans and trucks.
That's why it's important to have the right partner in your corner.
Of course. We owe to My Way Business Insurance. They've been our go-to for comprehensive cover, protecting our fleet while we deliver excellence.
Talk about going from pedal power to horsepower.
Move your business to My Way and get cover for your vans and trucks. Visit myway.co.za for a quote and do business your way. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's apply.
You're inside the all-new Jator X70 Plus, and you're feeling what luxury should feel like. Pleasant, isn't it? Every button, every control just seems to be exactly where you'd like it to be, almost as if it was made to fit you and you alone. Take your seat in a Jator X70 Plus and experience the place where comfort meets luxury from only $5,199 per month. Book a test drive at jator.coza. T's and C's apply. Jator. Drive your future.
This week on 702 R&B Africa Focus explores energy through an African lens. Join award-winning journalist Crystal Alderson as she unpacks the realities of Africa's just transition and how the continent is forging its own path toward an inclusive energy future. It's a conversation about access, equity, and opportunity powered by insights from R&B experts. Don't miss R&B Africa Focus on 702 Drive with John Pillman on Thursday. R&B is a proud sponsor of B20 and a leading African corporate and investment bank.
702
Masterclass.
12 minutes to 3 o'clock, and we continue with our masterclass. If you're hearing a new voice, it is our new traffic reporter that joins us, Umpemetse Sebola, who will participate in the remainder of this conversation as we continue to forge ahead for Youth Month. We are speaking about mastering your CV and job search strategy with Thulisile Mgidi, General Manager and Certified Coach at No Valo Learning Center. I'm already going to preempt the fact that we're going to need a part 2 for this conversation because we really have only covered the part of the CV, and I really want young people to get the opportunity to now speak about the job search strategy. Your calls on 011 8830 702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Okay, so in terms of Thulisile, some of the conversations we've been having around this, I want to read some of the WhatsApp messages that have come through. One says, I'm quite skilled and have been receiving a lot of rejection letters or no response at all to job applications. Why do some companies not bother to answer your application at all? And I know that must be the most discouraging thing ever, but share with us.
Yeah, I think that is one of the very difficult things. And this is where a lot of organizations have taken away the human element. And that's where you have the ATS softwares that are taking place. And my first thing that I would advise this particular person is that please take your CV and upload it into like Resume Worded and let it score your CV in terms of those job applications.
Wait, what is it called?
It's resume worded.
Resume worded. Okay,
yes.
cool.
So, and there are many other, AI platforms that you can use where you can directly upload your CV and it's going to give you a scoring of how well your scoring is against that particular job that you're applying for. So this is where I said earlier that CVs need to be tailor-made, because take advantage of AI by looking at the job that you're applying for, the job description, putting it into AI and putting your CV, and then allowing it to update your CV to align, because these softwares are programmed in such a way that they are looking for particular words. And if you haven't used that word which they are using in the job description, it can just kick you out. You might actually meet all the requirements of that particular job, but just because you didn't use X word, which is actually on the description, it has now already kicked you out. And also and I think this is a very, very difficult thing, because I even have friends those who are already in industry and want to apply for new jobs, is also the fact that it does require resilience. Applying for a job in the South African economy requires a lot of resilience, because it's not going to be a once-off thing. It's multiple applications before the opportunity comes. And to those who get interview opportunities, please ask for feedback, because often, yes, you get a rejection letter, but reply back and say, can you please highlight to me what are my areas of improvement? The worst that can happen is they say no. Which they've already rejected you for the job application.
Yes.
But out of the 5 that you're going to ask feedback, if you get 3, you know what to work on for the next.
And I think the difficult part about that is being receptive to the feedback. I recall, I don't know how long ago it was, where our business was getting so many rejections of, pitching for certain shows. And eventually I was like, hi, excuse me, please, can we, get some feedback? And the client was gracious enough to give us a 1-hour feedback session about just how they prefer to receive information. And they made it clear to us, you did not get the job because you're not great. Actually, after you pitched, we were convinced it was you, but somebody else just happened to come with something extra special. So they gave an extra bit more than what we asked for. Mpemetse, have you ever looked out for an opportunity where, because you don't have formal education, you try to give a bit extra? Has that happened for you before?
Yeah, I've been in a space where I had something that, as you said, another person didn't. And mostly in my industry, it counts on personality.
Yes.
So I had more personality, or I gave more energy and the willingness to be there than the other person, even though they were more qualified than I was. Yeah.
So how important then, Tulisile, is the hunger part of it? Because another thing that I observe, particularly in my industry, is permanent employees do not have a certain hunger that freelancers do. So when people know this is a 3-month thing, they are hungry. Whereas some people are on the bare minimum, I'm collecting my salary vibe.
And I think it's important for you as a person to be self-aware on what kind of a personality are you, because not everybody has the freelancer personality. No, not everybody can survive in that. And when it comes to permanent employment, I think the biggest danger is comfort. I think maybe 20 years ago, there were individuals who were comfortable being a bookkeeper for 20 years and staying with. That's not this generation that we currently have now. So even if you are permanent, you can't get too comfortable, because literally, not just can somebody else take your job, technology can possibly come in. What are you doing to stay up to date in whatever the work environment it is that you are in, to show that you are committed to growing? Because just sitting there and saying, my paycheck is coming, is very, very dangerous. And I think COVID showed us those elements of it.
Definitely it did. Another person says as a comment, I hate CVs that look like a child's coloring in book. For example, different fonts, different size fonts, different colors, etc. It needs to be clean and standardized throughout. Is there ever a time that there's an exception to that rule? Maybe even if you are a creche teacher, or you like, guys, keep things simple.
Keep things simple. The simpler, the better. Especially, that's why I say you need to look at it from a ATS perspective. It has to be simple, because it can't read graphs. It can't read imagery. Even you putting a picture of yourself, it's not necessary. You're not applying for a a media position, whatever. I know in the previous workspaces that I've been in with culinary students, for example, where they have portfolios, you only submit a portfolio as it's required. It must be separate from your CV. Those images are going to obscure everything that you have to upload and actually apply for. If it's not part of your trade, your industry, rather not. I would say separate those so that there's a portfolio of evidence and that there is your actual CV so that it can be readable to the software.
Nati's saying my CV is 2 pages. I emphasized on my skills. If they need more info, they will call. So far, it seems to have been working. What are your thoughts? Because I have seen a job posts that specifically say send a 1-pager or send a. Must you now make your font 6? No. Take the 2 and squeeze everything.
No, please don't. I think that is keep your CV short as possible. I know for me, once I start seeing a CV that's more than 3 pages, I'm like, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to sell me, essentially? Because either you're starting to lie or put information that's not necessary to the CV. So do follow instructions. And I think when those instructions do come through, what they're trying to emphasize again is, can you read instructions and can you share information in a comprehensive manner? Because should you be in an industry where they literally say to you that your caption has to be 3 lines, will you be able to deliver a 3-line caption over a 10-line that you are essentially? Can you get to the point and say, this is who I am, this is what I've got to offer? Or are you going to go on for the 45 minutes that we spoke about earlier?
I've got you completely. We're definitely going to bring you in for a part 2 to Lisile. Thank you so much for your time. And just so that everybody is aware, and my screen is absolutely refusing to move for me to be able to tell you, you can head over and register now on no-velo.com. What are we finding there?
So on the 18th of June, we are hosting a CV Masterclass. Everybody can head over to novalo.com, to our website, to register for that CV Masterclass. And we will share even more details on what we've discussed today on how to better your CV. And that masterclass in particular was really driven by the May stats of unemployment in our country. And we said, let's play our little part in saying, can we change things and the trajectory of things in our country for young people?
We'll save all your questions that you've put through. Thank you for your time.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult, day 3,268. I love payday because my salary would look huge to 15-year-old me. But that's in 2011 money, not 2024 money. 28-year-old me is not so easily impressed.
Recently removed from the family payroll. Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's like 570 Rand a month, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
We think it's time you pose with your Mahindra and take a snap for Insta. Or go jowl with your crew in your new Isuzu. Why not complete your makeover with a brand new Land Rover? Or see what you've been missing not driving a Nissan. Whichever car starts your party, you're bound to find it at Bidvest McCarthy. We have all these brands and so much more. You're guaranteed to find what you're looking for. Bidvest McCarthy. Our people deliver. Always.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
CEO at Capitec, Perry Fourie, he suggests we should include people who work in the informal sector in the category of employed.
We see a lot more activity in the informal economy, specifically the township economy, across all sectors that is driving economic behavior. And we think that if that's properly understood, then collectively we can work together as to say, how do we enable those industries to grow further?
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA CIB, proud sponsor of the Africa Energy Forum 2025. Your story matters. ABSA is a registered FSP.
Relebogile is on X at Relebogile M.
Thank you so much for joining us on 702 Afternoons. A special shout out to you, Mpemetse Sebola, for coming through. You're going to go away with a demo, and I know the team is going to continue to show you love. You're going to have a professional demo that you're going to have with you. Did you have fun today?
I had absolute fun. Thank you to
Jali.
Mr. Karabo. Thank you to you. Thank you to everyone that. Thank you to Pachida. Thank you to Pachida. Thank you for answering my email. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to all of the listeners for showing so much love. PrimeMediaPlus.com or download the app. It's 3 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Protests in Soweto close off routes and destitute families in the Eastern Cape recount the tragedy of the floods. Good afternoon, I'm Maki Malapo. We begin with news just in from the south of Johannesburg, where frustrated residents in Meadowlands and Soweto have taken to the streets over ongoing